So, a very good morning, student. Once again, I welcome you all for the online lecture series on remote sensing and GIS. So, today we'll talking more about the image classification, and this is actually the part two of the image classification. We have left till supervised classification in the previous of my lecture. So, इस lecture में will start from the unsupervised classification. ठीक है. So till now we have covered some parts, and those parts where I will have a recap. So this was actually being covered in my previous lecture. Now we have to start from the unsupervised classification. Okay, so let's start from the unsupervised classification part. First of all, let us off this camera mode, and I hope this is clear to you all. I mean, this screen is visible to all you all, and this PPT is visible to you all, and I am perfectly audible to you all. So let's start with unsupervised classification. So सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन ये है कि what do you understand by unsupervised classification? So let us see unsupervised classification in detail. So it learns through some standard scientific laws and recognize the unknown patterns in the input image. I think you have understood this point, right? अब अगला पॉइंट जो हमारा था अनसुपरवाइज्ड इमेज क्लासिफिकेशन टेक्निक में that it is very useful when no sample site exists. Okay, that means from field you don't have any information. आपके पास कोई information नहीं है field से. You don't have any information about different classes and their location. So if that is the case, it is better to go for the unsupervised classification. But third point जो है, the classifier grouped the image pixel to different classes identified using some statistical similarity. So once you have this image where you want to identify the unknown patterns, but you don't have any information from the field. So what we meant, we want to identify the groups or the cluster based on the statistical similarity, or these groups of pixel are called clusters, right? So there are different image clustering algorithms such as K-means and isodata, which I would frequently use. So let us understand what exactly clustering means. तो क्लस्टर से हम क्या समझते हैं, सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट ये है हमारे लिए. तो क्लस्टर का मतलब हुआ ये एक आइडियल केस हुआ. तो इसके लिए एक अज्यूम कर लेते हैं, एक हमारे पास डीएन वैल्यू है प्लॉटेड इनटू 2 डायमेंशन, एंड आई हैव टोल्ड यू बिफोर also that you will have, or system or the method will have to identify the unknown pattern here, right? So based on this you will say this is class 1 or cluster 1, or which is forest, water or urban area. So here the same thing but in the ideal condition. So मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला था कि clustering is basically an ideal condition. So आप यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं कि 1 2 3 4 5 6 classes are here. ठीक है, 6 classes are here, right? And for each classes you will have a mean value, mean of that cluster, right? So you can easily find out the mean based on the DN values available here, right? So all the values, DN values will be averaged and you will find the mean. So mean pixel can be here, 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 depend, किसी पर भी हो सकता है. 1 2 3 4 5 6 में से जो भी है उस पर मीन वैल्यू हो सकता है. वो डिपेंड करेगा अपॉन द वैल्यू और द रेंज ऑफ द वैल्यू फॉर द पिक्सल बिलोंगिंग टू दैट पर्टिकुलर क्लस्टर, राइट? तो क्लस्टर से क्या समझते हैं, अगर मैं उसको ब्रीफ में बताऊं तो ऑल द फीचर वेक्टर्स are points in the n dimensional space where n is the number of bands. So in the previous case you have seen in 2D feature space, but it is not necessary that always you will have 2-dimension plot, because your input data sets are like 5 dimension, 10 dimension, 50 dimension, 100 dimension and 1000 dimension. So depending upon the number of band in your input, that n dimension space will be used, right? So required to find which set of the feature vector tends to form the cluster. तो आप यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, you will have to find out which set of the feature vector tends to form the cluster. So a member of a cluster will be more similar to the other member of the same cluster. That means if you see this pixel belonging to this particular cluster will vary together, right? That is the probability, right? So a member of the cluster will be more similar to another member of the same cluster. So similarly, in terms of DN value, they will have the low intra-cluster variability, right? Within the cluster, they will not vary much, but high interclass variability. But with respect to other clusters, they will vary abruptly. So that means you have decided, or the system has identified good cluster pixel. So till now, हमने क्या क्या डिस्कस कर लिया? The ideal condition when you have very well separated 6 classes that we have seen in the previous slide. अब हमारे पास है overlapping of the cluster. ठीक है, तो overlapping of the clustering में क्या है? क्या होगा जब हमारे पास ओवरलैपिंग हो जाएगी क्लस्टरिंग की, तो उस केस में क्या होगा? So it is actually very common in the image that it will be very difficult to find out whether this pixel will belong to this class or this class. So here high separation between different clusters is required. Low variability within each cluster is required. So in a standard case or in the ideal case, this is the scenario. But in natural case, this will be the scenario. So how do you see different forms of clustering? तो सबसे पहले मान लो K मीन क्लस्टरिंग है, तो K मीन का क्लस्टरिंग का अगर हम देखें तो दिस इज द एक्चुअली मोस्ट पॉपुलर clustering algorithm in remote sensing, and which is basically a iterative process. So iterative process means since this is a unsupervised classification, the system has to learn its own. So in the first iteration, it will learn maybe you can say 10%. In second iteration, it will be 20, then third 50, and then sixth it will be 100%. So it is a iterative process. ठीक है. So after this iteration process, what we have with this K-means clustering, the second thing is that so every time the system or the algorithm will train itself and it will find a more better cluster for the given.
It is the here you have K. So K is the number, K, that is the number of the cluster needs to be identified, is provided by the analyst. Even in the unsupervised classification K-mean clustering, they need to provide what is the maximum number of K we want in our image. So that many cluster will be generated. So the process will be initialized randomly. So random K cluster means will be identified. Suppose करो आपके पास 5 classes है. You have given with the 5 classes, but the system will start maybe from 100 in the first iteration based on their position and whether they are close to each other. So randomly system will identify 100 cluster, then slowly it will converge to your given K value. Okay? And when this random K cluster are identified, what happened? क्या होगा? Assign करो each pixel to any of the K cluster based on the minimum feature distance. So एक बार assume कर लेते हैं कि हमारे पास DN value दिया है, and the system has started with the 5 classes randomly. So here we have 5 random classes. Now again we need to resolve all these pixels whether they belong to this one or this one. So that was decided based on the minimum feature distance. So the closest value or the closest located DN value will be assigned to this. So the boundary will extend. So this is how in the beginning system will start with random K value, and then slowly it will converge to your given K value. Subsequently, each cluster mean is recomputed. Oh, so again, once you have extended this boundary of this particular cluster, then mean will vary. So once this has resolved all the pixel and you have 5 classes, you will find out the mean of this cluster. Then again, you will find out the minimum feature distance, and then again redistribute the DN values in different cluster. Doesn't matter in the previous iteration it was in cluster 1, but in next iteration it can go to cluster 2 based on the minimum feature distance from the cluster mean, right? So iterate till cluster mean vector stabilizes. So it will keep on running until this cluster mean does not change. So once it is stabilized, or if you have given a threshold like okay, ye variation hai, this is the variation in the cluster mean, the system will stop, or the method of the iteration will stop, then back will be your final cluster. ठीक है, तो इसको ठीक से समझने के लिए नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे हमको चलना पड़ेगा. तो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में आप देखो, हियर इट इज योर नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. सो टू अंडरस्टैंड इट, यू हैव अ इनपुट इमेज. आपके पास एक इनपुट इमेज है and iteration is 0, as I told you that a system will identify, or it will start with random k value, right? So it has started with random k value. Here you can see now for each cluster it will calculate just wait a second, हमने random k value ले लिया, so it has started with random k value. Here you can see now for each cluster it will calculate the mean, right? And then it will calculate the minimum feature distance, and then it will assign the pixel into that class. So each cluster ci is represented by its mean vector, and the image pixel x will be assigned to the cluster ck where this is satisfied. So again this is the reputation. So it initialize the process with random k cluster mean, and then assign each pixel to any of the k cluster based on the minimum feature distance. Then each cluster mean is recomputed. So slowly this random k will be converged to your given k value, and then when it will start this iteration, when then there is no variation in the main cluster, so then your k mean clustering will stop. ठीक है, तो एक बार और समझते हैं. जो आपका इनपुट पैरामीटर है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ठीक है, और इसके बेस पे एवरेज डिफरेंस बिटवीन द क्लस्टर मीन इनिशियल क्लासेस विल बी कन्वर्ज्ड. सो हियर द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द क्लस्टर मीन इनिशियल क्लासेस विल बी कन्वर्ज्ड, बिकॉज मैंने आपको बताया कि यू हैव गिवन k इज इक्वल टू 5. अगर हम मान के चलते हैं हमारे पास k की वैल्यू 5 है, the system may start with 100, but 100 to 5 how it will come? So you have different cluster, and suppose if this mean and this mean next class is here, so this mean and this mean will not be very far from each other. So what will happen? These two will converge and they will one class. तो एक जनरल की बात करें तो 20 iteration are required to get a stabilized cluster for a remotely sensed image. So this is not a standard, so you can try that it may converge maybe after 10 iteration, it may take 40, 30, 50. So this is not fixed, but in general 20 iteration is good to get this stabilized cluster mean for remotely sensed image. So here you can see some of the example. Now अगर हमको कोई examples देखना हो तो सबसे पहले मेरे पास एक ये example है k means clustering का. आपके पास एक रॉ डेटा इमेज है, ठीक है, दिस इज फ्रॉम द अस्टर सेंसर, ठीक है, एंड दिस इज द क्लासिफाइड इमेज व्हेन आई हैव गिवन k इज इक्वल्स टू 5, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे k मींस क्लस्टरिंग में हमारे पास सबसे पहला एक रॉ डेटा ये है, और अगर हमने k की वैल्यू 5 दी तो उसका क्लासिफाइड इमेज हमारे पास ये है, ठीक है. ये तो एक एग्जांपल हो गया, और दूसरा एग्जांपल हम देखते हैं. सो हियर वी हैव द वन मोर एग्जांपल, नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल, जहां पे मैंने k की वैल्यू 5 से 7 कर दी, ठीक है. सो दीज आर द चेंजेस यू कैन सी हियर, ठीक है. सो हियर द एनालिस्ट सुपरविजन और द एनालिस्ट डिसीजन अबाउट दिस k वैल्यू इज वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुली एनालाइज दिस इमेज थ्रू, यू डोंट हैव एनी इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द फील्ड. लेकिन आपको पता है कि यू हैव मेनी कैटेगरीज, यू वांट टू डिवाइड दिस होल इमेज. So here you can see how you have only 7 classes. So 7 class are used to represent 7 different classes. So once you know the color is water, then all the blue color belonging to this particular image, right, classified image, the image they will represent water, और वो ये represent करेगा कि there is the presence of water, ठीक है. तो उसके बाद हमारा जो दूसरी चीज है वो है आइसो डेटा क्लस्टरिंग। तो आइसो डेटा क्लस्टरिंग इज द फुल फॉर्म ऑफ इटरेटिव सेल्फ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डेटा एनालिसिस टेक्निक, और ये डेवलप किया है बॉल एंड हॉल इन 1960 फॉर द बायोलॉजी, लेटर रिमोट सेंसिंग कम्युनिटी वो हैज अडॉप्टेड। ठीक है, सो आप देख सकते हैं कि इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी दैट यू शुड बी लाइक एक्सपर्ट इन रिमोट सेंसिंग, but you can use your basic understanding to propose something new once you are comfortable or once you know this is the basic of the remote sensing. तो आप उस knowledge को apply करते हो for the progressively enhanced or progressively change the method which people are using in some process. So generalization of k-mean algorithm. So basically this is the generalization of k-mean algorithm, and it requires user specified parameters like minimum size of the cluster, maximum size of the cluster, maximum intra cluster variance, minimum separation between the pairs of cluster, maximum number of cluster, minimum number of the cluster and maximum number of the iteration. ठीक है, इसको समझने के लिए एक सेपरेटली देखो, हमने एक minimum size of the cluster लिया. So here it requires how many pixel of the minimum number of pixel you want in each cluster. So if you say that I need at least 5 pixel in my cluster, so this is fine. So on that basis it is fine. But in the other cluster where it is started with the random k value, let us say it has only 3. ठीक है, उसमें क्या हुआ, but मैंने आपको minimum I have given 5 pixel is required. So then this will not qualify. So then this will not be clubbed together. So next is maximum size of the cluster. So I can say maybe 100, right? So maximum 1000 pixel will be allowed to be part of this cluster, right? But if it exceeds like 1001, then that pixel will be out from the cluster, okay? Out from the cluster, and वो जब out हो जाएगा, right? So out from the cluster and it will go to some other cluster. So this is how we are evolving ourselves. तो हमारा next है वो है maximum intra cluster variance. So intra cluster means between the cluster or among this dn values of this particular cluster. What is the variance? आपको variance क्या चाहिए? तो minimum variance. Then maximum separation between the pairs of cluster. So here the maximum separation, what is the separation you want from or between these two clusters? That is very important. So initially we had this kind of problem, like it is coming here and here also. So how to separate them? So it is very difficult. So we should provide what is the distance or what is the minimum separation we want in our clustering mechanism. Then obviously the maximum number of cluster, minimum number.
So maximum number of cluster. So maximum number of cluster may be 100, minimum may be 10. So at least the system will give you 10 classes at the end. That is your criteria. And maximum number of iterations. So how many iterations it should run? So it may, you can say 20, 30 or 30 times it will run and it will stop. So here there are some other criteria. Okay. So here there are some other criteria, like if you can say, you may decide that based on any of this, it is not matching, your iteration will stop. That is up to the analyst. So that you need to decide in the beginning, then you have to run the system, right? Other things in ISO data clustering में एक चीज देखते हैं. Here, if the number of the elements in the cluster CK is less than the specified minimum value, CK will be merged with another cluster. That is the first criteria. Then maximum number of pixels are also specified by the analyst. If the cluster are not separated by the specified minimum distance, they will be merged together, right? Then if the number of the cluster reaches to maximum limit of Kmax, clustering process will be stopped. In another case, measuring of cluster will not be allowed if it matches with the specified minimum limit of the K minimum, right? So everything I have discussed अभी पहले वाली slide में भी. So if the number of the iteration in the K means clustering reaches to maximum number of iteration, process will stop. So because we need to be very careful while running this clustering method, because you need to stop somewhere, otherwise it will keep on running. So any of them, if they are not matching, then iteration will stop. अब आपको एक एग्जांपल अगर मैं दिखाऊं आइसो डेटा क्लस्टरिंग का, so here it is the best example. So we have seen K means and ISO data clustering. तो अब हमको देखना होगा इमेज क्लासिफिकेशन में अनसुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफिकेशन. तो सॉरी अनसुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफिकेशन देख लिया, अब हमको सुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफिकेशन देखना पड़ेगा. तो सुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफिकेशन में क्या है? सुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफिकेशन it is supervised and guided by the analyst, and it requires the training data at the beginning of the process. The required number of the classes are identified by the analyst, because that will be like how many training data or how many classes you are providing the training data. So that will be decided, that will decide the total number of classes here. So अब हमको सबसे पहले चीज समझना है कि ट्रेनिंग डेटा क्या होता है. ठीक है, तो ट्रेनिंग डेटा समझने के लिए यू हैव टू गो टू द स्लाइड. तो ट्रेनिंग डेटा का मतलब ये हुआ should represent all the desired classes. So अगर आपको you want to divide your study area or the image into 5 classes, then for the 5 classes you have to provide the training data. आपको training data provide करना पड़ेगा. It should address the
variability if the hello, yeah. So ये आपका अगर 5 classes है, then for the 5 classes you have to provide the training data.
You have to provide the training data. It should address the spectral variability if the class is heterogeneous. So spectral variability का मतलब ये हुआ, suppose if this is the image, ठीक है, हमारे पास एक image है and this is the forest class. So you may find some of the pixel if you have displayed it into FCC. ठीक है, then क्या होगा? Then some of the pixel will be more red or dark red. So some will be very light. So why they are there? Because based on their chlorophyll content and the other properties. So if you want to identify or you want to classify the image into forest or non-forest, then you should collect all the pixels or the variability of the pixel belonging to this forest class. Then only your image classification will be good. And it is based on the field or image information, because whenever we collect this ground control point using this GPS, then that will be plotted on your image, and then you will find these pixels are actually from this particular class, and that class or that pixel value will be used to develop a relationship between this class and this CN value. So it is based on the field or image information. So samples of training data should be geographically well distributed. So this is the another concern. Like suppose this is your forest class. Here you may have also forest. So you should collect forest training data from this class also, or this area also, from here also, and from here also. So that training data should be geographically well distributed. For a bigger class, training data should be large. That says if this is the image and this is the forest and this is your water body and rest are the urban area. So for the urban area, if you have given 5 pixels, so first of all you need to see whether they are geographically well distributed. If you say that okay, they are distributed with this 10 points, right? So will it satisfy all the criteria? No. because you have water class also. So you may have collected 5 pixels for water. So for water, maybe this is a very small area. So 5 pixel is good enough. Okay. But in case of urban and in case of forest, you may have to give sufficient number of training pixels, right? So then only it will satisfy this criteria. For a bigger class, training data should be large to improve the accuracy of the classification. The training data can be modified. Suppose you have followed everything, but you have not followed this one. So your classified image, which was supposed to be like this in 3 classes, but it is coming like this. So there is something wrong with the training data. So what I have to do, I have to revisit my training data, and then I have to satisfy all these criteria, and then I have to run the classification again. ठीक है, अब हमको ट्रेनिंग डेटा के बारे में कुछ और समझने के लिए इस स्लाइड्स को देखते हैं. अब हमको एवरी पॉइंट पे समझना है विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू इमेजेस. So first point is training data should represent all the desired classes. ठीक है, so here it say first analyst has to decide how many classes he or she wants. So let us assume she wants only 3 classes. So this is the one class where we have exposed the rock. This is the another class where we have the vegetation. ठीक है, this is the another class where we have settlement, right? So training data should represent all the desired classes. So analysts should have at least 3 classes. And how it will be done? You will go to the field, you will visit the particular area, you will collect the bounding coordinates of this particular class, and then you will plot that information on this particular image, and then these pixels from the image will be treated as the training data. So for vegetation also, the same thing will be happening. For urban also, same thing will be we will do. So you will have 3 training data for, let us say, rock, forest, or vegetation, and then urban. So once you have that, then it is good. In case of high spatial resolution data, क्या होता है? You can easily find out the different classes. But in case of low resolution data, it is hard to find even 4 or the 5 classes, right? But in the high spatial resolution, it is very easy. You can separate each and every different object into different classes, right? So here you can use maybe ground, right, playground, or maybe grass in one class, trees in the another class, concrete in the another class, and maybe roads in the other class. Then the railway tracks will be classified in the another class. So you can identify as many as you can, and provided you should identify the same pixel on the image. So that pixels will be treated as the training data, right? So अब थोड़ा सा ट्रेनिंग डेटा को और देखते हैं. Now your next is your that training data addresses the spectral variability. So spectral variability से मतलब ये हुआ, if you see the water is filled from here to here, अगर हमारा पानी भरा हुआ है, here also you have water bodies, right? So the pixel belonging to this particular location will have different DN values. So maybe let us say 5, here it may be 6. So this means that you should take care of the spectrum variability, because if the location is different, maybe the quality of the object is different. So you should include all the variability for that particular class. So ये एक अलग example हुआ. दूसरा example हमारे पास ये है, where आपके पास ये snow का example है. So it may be it is fresh snow, you will have different value. If it is old snow, आपके पास dirty snow भी हो सकता है. If it is in melting phase, if it is in freezing phase, so those DN values will be different from each other. Now, not drastically, but still you have to incorporate all the DN values from different locations. So then you will incorporate this spectral variability in your classification. और उसका दूसरा example देखें तो ये है. So another example, when you have the vegetation, जब आपके पास vegetation है, so this is very good here. So you can see here, this is the dark green. Okay, here it is light green, but actually they are vegetation. So maybe you can divide them into 2 categories. Maybe dense forest, sparse vegetation, or you can name them as per their species. So that is also possible. So that is why it is highlighted here. So spectral variability should be incorporated in your training data. And another example where soil is used. Here the soil has been used. Okay. Now the let us see. Yeah. So here the soil has been used. So soil also place to place their DN value will vary. So you have to take care of the spectral variability of the training data. So basically for that cluster or for that class, you should incorporate of all the spectral variability. So that training data will be good enough to classify all the pixels of your image, right? Now see in the next one, for a higher class, training data should be large. That says like here, this is exposed rock. So यहाँ पे हमारे पास exposed rock है. The area of this exposed rock is too large, right? So you can't just take 1 or 2 pixels from here and you can say that, okay, this is enough for my classification. No, that will be wrong. So if the class size in your image is large, then you should incorporate more pixel in your training data. Then accuracy will be more. So suppose karo, if I want to classify only vegetation and non-vegetation area, so then in vegetation I have to include more pixel, right, for my training data. Then only it will be good. Now let us see one example. See, training data should be geographically well distributed. So that says if this is the exposed rock, right? So then 1 pixel you should take care from here, 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 and here. So that means you have to visit all those places and you have to incorporate a spectral variability, and based on the size of that class in your image, you should include more pixels. Or uske liye you have to make sure that these training pixels are well distributed in your image. Then आपका result जो है वो better होगा. So here in the case of this, if you collect only concrete, you collect this 3 pixels, right? Will it be sufficient? No, because place to place construction materials are different. So what do you have to do? What do you have to do? Will it be sufficient? No. So what will you have to do? You have to resolve that by collecting more samples and that should be distributed all over in your image. So then only your classification result will be good. Okay. Now see, next point है कि to improve the accuracy of the classification, right? To improve the accuracy of the classification, training data can be modified. So suppose you have followed some of the logics, but some of the logics you have ignored because in the first time it was not available. All the information was not available and you find the classified images not good. So then what you can do, you can revisit your training data, modify, follow all the rules, and then your classification result will be very good. ठीक है. Now after this, ये हमारे पास कुछ supervised classifiers हैं. ठीक है. There are different types of supervised classifiers. So they are like, first one is your minimum distance to mean. ठीक है. So see, एक एक करके देखते हैं. सबसे पहले है minimum distance to mean. So what do you actually mean by this minimum distance to mean? वो एक एक करके मैं समझाऊंगा. दूसरा है parallel pipes, maximum likelihood ML, support vector machine SVM, artificial neural network ANN, binary encoding BE, spectral information divergence SID, non-parametric classifier. अब देखते हैं. There are actually we have different classifiers. Now you need to provide training data. That is, this method is not going to work because this is the supervised classification. So पहला method है हमारे पास mean distance to mean. So we have the first one, दैट इज मीन डिस्टेंस टू मीन। उसके बाद है हमारे पास पैरेलल पाइप, मैक्सिमम लाइक्लीहुड, देन यू हैव सपोर्ट वेक्टर मशीन्स, आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क, बाइनरी इनकोडिंग, स्पेक्ट्रल इंफॉर्मेशन डाइवर्जेंस एंड नॉन पैरामेट्रिक क्लासिफायर। ठीक है, तो हियर दीज आर बेसिकली द सुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफायर। तो एक एक करके हम देखेंगे। मिनिमम डिस्टेंस टू मीन दैट इज एमडीएम, पैरेलल पाइप। तो इसमें हम देखेंगे मिनिमम डिस्टेंस टू मीन और पैरेलल पाइप के बारे में। तो एक बार लेट अस सी व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय मिनिमम डिस्टेंस टू मीन। ओके, सो दिस स्लाइड बेसिकली इज इन डिटेल अबाउट मिनिमम डिस्टेंस टू मीन। तो इसमें देखते हैं कि क्या चीजें हैं मिनिमम डिस्टेंस टू मीन में, राइट। तो इसमें पहली चीज ये है, वेट अ सेकेंड। तो टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, इसको समझने के लिए पहला मेथड है विच इज द मिनिमम डिस्टेंस टू मीन क्लासिफायर। इसको हम एमडीएम भी कहते हैं। ओके, तो व्हाट इट सेज is it is simplest supervised classification technique which calculate the mean vector for each class। ठीक है, each class का मतलब हुआ we are talking about the training data, estimate the Euclidean distance from each pixel to the class mean vector। So in case if you have given two training data sets, like one is for forest and other is for water, so then we will calculate the mean vector of this, right? Because there will be too many pixel here. Here also you can find out the mean vector, right? Then for a unknown pixel, we have to find Euclidean distance from each pixel to class mean vector, and then whatever is the nearest, that will be assigned, and it is assigned to each pixel to the nearest class। अब इसको समझने के लिए इस स्लाइड को हमको देखना पड़ेगा। यू कैन सी हियर, सो आई हैव प्रोवाइडेड हाउ मेनी क्लासेस, 6 classes। Here we have provided you 6 classes। So now we have 6 classes as the training data। Now what we have done, we have named them class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5, and class 6 respectively. Now next step is to calculate the mean vector. Okay, so that will be identified, and then this is my image pixel which has to be classified in any of these 6 classes. Okay, so what I will do, we will calculate the Euclidean distance, and then we will assign this unknown pixel into the nearest class. So in this case, maybe this class is actually the nearer one. Okay, so what we do, we assign this to this, so it will so this will go here. So here the same thing which has repeated. ठीक है, तो जनरल टर्म्स में अगर MDM की बात करें तो MDM classifies each pixel to the nearest class no matter how far it is, because you have to find the distance from all the 6 clusters. If the distance between the class 1 and a pixel is the less value, then definitely that unknown pixel or the image pixel will be classified into class 1. Okay, but exactly it may not be the same class, but it is classifying that one. So that is one of the problem. ठीक है, उस केस में ये यहाँ पे एक हमारे लिए प्रॉब्लम है. Only if there is a threshold value, it leaves the pixel unclassified. So suppose if these are the clusters, right, and this is the pixel. So obviously you don't have any threshold value. This pixel will be classified into this class because this is the nearest. But probably we have left one class because we wanted only 4 class here. So this may be some other class. But because we don't have any threshold value, here it will be classified into this. That is why to resolve that, you have to use threshold value so that there will be several pixels left unclassified. So next is the distance between the image pixel and class mean vector can be computed in different ways, because it can be calculated using Euclidean Malan-Boyce city block, and you can use, there are many distance calculators. So those methods can be incorporated here when you are calculating the distance between class mean vector and the image pixel. So that will be, if you use Euclidean, maybe you will find that pixels are classified into different classes in all the methods. So you have to find which works well for you. So this is how we define the minimum distance to mean classifier, और उसको हम MDM भी कहते हैं. So here I have one of the example for you. So here this is the result of MDM. ठीक है, ये जो classified image है आपका, ये एक example है MDM का. ठीक है, so this is your MDM, that is your classified image. Okay, minimum distance classifier. ये MDM से मैंने classify किया है. Here you can see water body. यहाँ पे आप इस कलर से जो है वो water body है. Here it is your water body also, and dense vegetation also, and then sparse vegetation also. Then you have agriculture land also and urban land also, and these which are visible here, right? तो ये आपका minimum distance to mean classifier है. उसके बाद जो अगला है वो हमारे पास है parallel piped classifier. तो parallel piped classifier में आप क्या समझते हो? तो parallel piped classifier तो जब पैरेलल पाइप्ड मेथड की बात होती है, तो पैरेलल पाइप मेथड में क्या होता है, ये आपका एक फीचर स्पेस क्लासिफायर है, राइट? तो पैरेलल पाइप्ड क्लासिफिकेशन में here what we do is we actually use the feature space, right? So this is what it is written here. It is a feature space classifier and it estimates the range of value for each class in each band. So range of value for each class in each band, that means class, suppose this is the image, ठीक है? ये हमारे पास एक image है, so you have collected the ground control point and you know the latitude, longitude, and you know that these two pixels are basically forest. So once you would say to identify or to mark your training data, you say these two pixels are forest, then क्या होगा? Then what will happen? You will have maybe let us assume that we have 3 band input data. So the same location will be used and the value will be extracted from these 3 images. So the range of values estimated from training data are used to define the boundaries of each class. So what happens here? This is suppose 3 bands. ठीक है, यहाँ पे हमारे पास 3 band है. So you have 3 dimension and you know that from these 4 pixels, what is the minimum value and what is the maximum value. So here you will have minimum and maximum. So minimum value or maximum value, then you can actually draw the boundary for each class. ठीक है, so a pixel is assigned to a particular class only if it is failing with the corresponding boundaries. This is very important that you will understand here. So based on that logic which I have explained just now, for each class you will find the range or the minimum and maximum value. So let us assume you have 3 band image in your input. So for the training data, for the classifier, you will identify the bounding values like minimum and maximum for all these 3 bands, and accordingly these boxes will be made. So after that, what will happen? You will have to find out the pixel whether they are falling or matching with this particular boundaries or not. If so, then this will be assigned to this. But what if they are lying outside? Then in this method, these pixels will not be classified. So in at the end, you will have only 6 classes from the classification. But you will have one more class. उसको हम कहते हैं unclassified class. ठीक है. So you can see that in parallel piped, basically it does not assign each pixel to a class, that you have understood. Okay, and computationally faster, because once you know the bounding values, it is very easy whether this particular unknown pixel is matching with the that boundary or that value, minimum, maximum, yes or no. Then immediately you can produce the result, and it can be used to decide the number of the classes in your input. Because if there are many unclassified pixels left after this parallel pipe classification, that means initially I have given the 3 classes. ठीक है. So in parallel pipe, you can see basically it does not assign each pixel to a class, that you have understood, and computationally faster, because once you know the bounding values, it is very easy whether this particular unknown pixel is matching with that boundary or that value, minimum, maximum, yes or no. Then immediately you can produce the result, and it can be used to decide the number of the classes in your input. Because if there are many unclassified pixels left after this parallel pipe classification, उसका मतलब ये हुआ initially I have given 3 classes, but one more class is coming with too many pixels, that is unclassified pixel. That means I need to increase the number of my training data, right? So then you will have to produce, or you have to provide maybe 4, 5, or 6 training data sets, and it cannot resolve in the class range overlap. So if there is an overlap, in the class range, it will be not classify, or it will not resolve that problem, because this method has its own limitation, right? अब अगर यहाँ पे एक एग्जांपल देखें, तो here you have this example of this classification. So here there are some black pixels, right? You can see here some black pixel also. So some black pixel, so they are basically unclassified. So initially we have given water body, dense vegetation, stairs, agricultural land, urban area, but there is one more class, and you can realize from this image that there are too many pixels are falling in this category. That means still I need to increase any classes, or I have to revisit my training data, and I have to follow all the rules. Then probably this classification accuracy will be more, and then finally you will have very less, or maybe there will be no unclassified pixel in your image. So that is all for the this unsupervised classification. So here we will just finding up this lecture, that is part 2 of the image classification. बाकी और इमेज टेक्निक के बारे में हम दूसरे वीडियोस में बात करेंगे, राइट? कि और हमारे पास जो भी इनहेंसमेंट का टेक्निक है एंड ऑल है. आई गेस अभी तक ये पार्ट आपको क्लियर हो गया है, ठीक है? एंड इफ यू हैव एनी मोर डाउट, यू कैन राइट डायरेक्टली to ankur495@bit.ac.in, and then also if you have any doubt, you can directly write your message in this comment box, any query you have in this comment box. So this is all for the image classification part 2 part. तो उसके बाद हम कुछ और इमेज टेक्निक और एनहांसमेंट की बात तो नेक्स्ट वाले स्लाइड में करेंगे, आई मीन नेक्स्ट वीडियो में करेंगे, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में करेंगे. टिल देन enjoy learning, and keep watching the video, and thank you so much. Have a nice day. God bless you all.